Economics, the Framework for Business by Arthur James Armitage.
Exit real quickly. I think I know.
Economics is essentially a financial and social system. Economics is the study of the choices that people, companies, and governments make in allocating resources. There are two different types of economics. Macroeconomics is the study of a country's overall economic dynamics, such as the employment rate, the gross domestic product, and taxation policies. Whereas microeconomics, which is on a smaller scale, focuses on smaller economic units such as individual consumers, families, and individual businesses. The economy is usually always affected by certain events. Hurricane Katrina had a big hit on the economy, especially the economy of the New Orleans area. Um, the 9/11 terrorist attacks and the internet affected how the economy rolled. The stock market dropped and unemployment rose. Economic experts feared that the country was hovering on the brink of a full-blown recession, and this was only a couple years ago. Um, the federal government made the Federal Reserve, known as the Fed, and they started to give the money back to the economy, but they didn't think it. Um, when you're managing the economy, you have the fiscal and you have the monetary policy. And while the free market drives performance in the American economy, the federal government and the Federal Reserve can help shape performance. During the recent crisis, both the government and the Feds have taken proactive, some say heavy-handed roles to mitigate this economic contraction. The overarching goal is controlled, sustained growth, and both fiscal and monetary policy can help achieve this objective. When looking at fiscal policies, you have a plentiful of different other things as the fiscal cliff or maybe the debt ceiling as you know it by. The fiscal policy refers to the government efforts to influence the economy through taxation and spending decisions that are designed to encourage growth, boost employment, and curb inflation. Um, Fiscal policies were made to make everything better when the economy was on a down low. The debt ceiling, on the other hand, is the maximum amount Congress lets the government borrow. They're not just going to give away oodles of money. They're going to make sure that they have a controlled amount that they know that they'll be able to receive back. The fiscal cliff, though, was a package of draconian across-the-border spending cuts and sharp tax hikes scheduled to go into effect on January the 1st, 2013 that could dramatically decrease the U.S. budget deficit. It was supposed to help, but I don't. Monetary policy refers to actions that shape the economy by influencing interest rates and the supply of money. The Federal Reserve, essentially the central bank of the United States, manages the U.S. monetary policy. In addition to setting monetary policy, the Board of Governors oversees the operation of the 12 Federal Reserve banks that carry out Fed policies and perform banking services for commercial banks, which are privately owned financial institutions that accept demand deposits and make loans and provide other services for the public. Continuing on with monetary policy, the core purpose of the Fed is to influence the size of the money supply or the total amount of money within the overall economy. Money is anything generally accepted as a medium of exchange, a measure of value, or a means of payment. So saying you wanted to trade your 2 chickens for my 1 cow is an acceptable way of payment. There are 2 different types of money supply, and that's M1 money supply includes all currency plus checking accounts. M2 money supplies includes all of M1 money supplies plus most savings account, money markets accounts, and certificates of deposits. The Federal Reserve, they have many tools to make sure that the balance is being kept in check with the monetary policy, make sure not someone is getting more money than someone else, and everybody's paying it back. They have open market relations, which involve buying and selling government securities, which includes treasury bonds, notes, and bills. They have a discount rate change. Discount rate is the interest rate the Fed changes on its loans to commercial banks. The reserve requirement. The Fed requires that all of its members' banks hold funds called reserves equal to a stated percentage of deposits held by their customers. And the Fed has several other core functions, including regulation of financial institutions and providing banking services both for the government and for the banks. The Fed has a lot of money that they have to deal with. They have to deal with a lot of government money and a lot of banking money. The Fed sets and oversees mergers and acquisitions to ensure fairness and compliance with government policy. Capitalism. It is the free market system. It's what we like to think that America, how its economy is made by capitalism. And capitalism is also known as a private enterprise system or a free market system. It is also the economic system of the United States, as previously stated. There are four fundamental rights to capitalism, and they are follow the rights to own a business, the right to private property, the right to free choice, and the right to fair competition. In a free market system, the continual interplay between buyers and sellers determines the selection of products and prices available in the economy. Supply refers to the quantity of products that producers are willing to offer, and demand refers to the quantity of products that consumers are willing to buy. People want different things for different prices. They're not going to pay $15 for a cheaply made toy that's going to fall together. And this is what controls our economy. The people control our economy. Away from capitalism, there's another economic system called socialism. And this is based on the principle that government should own and operate key enterprises that directly affect public welfare, such as utilities, telecommunications, and healthcare. Although the official government goal is to run the enterprises in the best interest of the overall public, efficiencies and corruption often interfere with effectiveness. These people get big heads. They get all this power and they get all this money from operating and owning all these companies that they feel as they are untouchable or maybe godlike. And it is very wrong for them to think that they can hold this sort of power position just because they have more money in the pocket. Away from the other market systems, there's the last, and this is, the communism and mixed economies. Communism is an economic and political system that calls for public ownership of virtually all enterprises under the direction of a strong central government. People are unable to make even basic choices, such as where to work or what to buy. The people are scared. They can't make their own decisions on their own. They have to be told what to buy, where to work, who to work for, what to wear to work by government officials. These mixed economies are economies that embody elements of both planned and market-based economic styles. The government does not directly operate firms in the financial sectors. Some government-owned businesses have converted to private ownership via a process called privatization. When evaluating the economic performance of a country, the gross domestic product, or GDP, measures the total value of all final goods and services produced within a nation's physical boundaries over a given period of time, adjusted for inflation. All domestic production is included in the GDP, even when the producer is foreign-owned. Business people, economists, and political leaders use GDP to measure the economic performance of individual nations and to compare the growth among nations. The overall level of employment is another key of economic health. The baby rate, the death rate, the rising seniority rate depends on how economically healthy your country is. Also, if your country produces a lot of products, brings in a lot of imports, sends out a lot of exports, it shows good signs of economic health. Um, in the business cycle, it plays a big part in evaluating economic performance. And then there are two key phases of the business cycle, which are contraction and expansion. Contraction is when there's a downturn in the economy. Unemployment's high. Jobs are willing to let employees go less because they don't know if they're going to be able to afford to maybe hire better employees. An expansion is a period of robust economic growth and high employment. Jobs are easier to get. Companies are hiring and firing more, and unemployment, like I said, is at an all-time high. And in between these two phases, there's a recovery phase, which is a period of rising economic growth and increasing employment following a contraction. When evaluating, again, the economic performance, the price levels, the rate of price changes across the economy is another measure of economic well-being. Inflations mean that prices are average or rising. They have hyperinflation is an average monthly inflation rate more than 50%. Disinflation is a period of slowing average price increase across the economy. And deflation is a period of falling average prices across the community or economy. And productivity, when productivity is high, then that means that your economy. All my information has been obtained from an Introduction to Business book by Marcy Kelly and Chuck Williams.